Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Barbers Podcast. My name is Bradford Kelly, and I am the proud co-host of the one, the only Elevated Barbers Podcast. I am also the owner of Another Level of Barbering Incorporated, and I also happen to be the coach for the Level Up programs for barber and beauty professionals. And today we have a special guest, but before we get to the special guest, I want to make sure that I give all the credit to...
This is Delmar, aka The Prince, owner of Royal Luxe Grooming and co-host of the one and only Elevated Barbers Podcast. Let's start the show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So as I told you all before, multiple times before, we are on episode 6, and we've been having special guests every single episode that have added value to all barber and beauty professionals, as well as even people just in the industry of business. Anybody that has business, we've been adding value. And so today, I don't want to hold you too long without allowing you guys to understand who our next guest is. Delmar, go ahead and bring to the stage our guest today, JesseJames. What's up, Jesse?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, it's going very, very good. I'm actually very happy to be able to have you because you have been an honored guest of multiple podcasts. I got a chance to see a few of the episodes regarding your growth on United Barbers Club. So I'm happy to be able to have you here. I think the first time that we met, Jesse, we were at the NorCal Barber Expo. I met you and Tamel at the exact same time, and your story really stood out to me. And so hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit into your story, get a little bit into some of your successes, as well as some of the strategies that you've used to kind of grow and become who you are in this industry. So without further ado, Jesse, if you don't mind, please introduce yourself to the community.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is JesseJames, owner of King's Den Barber College, King's Den Beauty Academy, and Federal Way Barber College. We're at 6 locations right now in barbershops. I started off with the Federal Way Barber College. We were charging $2,000, and before I knew it, we had a bunch of students with a bunch of talent, a bunch of hardworking, dedicated people, and that's when I felt like the school and the shops is such a good combo. The hardest part about barbershops is finding good, reliable barbers. So by training them at the Federal Way Barber College and now King's Den Barber College, it's just taken that huge headache away. And, I always say, I have 99 problems, but barbers aren't one.
That's right.
Locked and loaded and ready to go. And in the last 2 years, as we've grown, the top barber students in the past used to go to some of the other barbershops or wanting to go to the other barbershops, but it's just starting to turn where the top barber students are like, no, I want to go to King's Den, so that's a really, really good feeling. And, I'm happy that, they're starting to want to come over to us instead of, seeing them go other places. But I always love giving other barbershops barbers too. It's something that's helped my Battle of the Barbers competition, as I've always helped other barbers find reliable barbers. But it was just a nice feeling to see some of the top ones choosing King's Den.
Nice.
Yeah, it is, man. I think that what you're doing is so good because you're going from the root, right? You're going from the root where you are actually helping the barber students get their licenses. You're teaching them all of the fundamentals that they need to know so that when they get into the industry, if they stay with you or not, that they can be valuable, right? That's step 1. And then step 2, you're also providing them an avenue for them to be able to actually work in an environment that they're probably familiar with, as well as feel like they can grow in because you're providing the facility for them to grow into. So I think that's super, it's not just creative, but it's actually helpful to all barber and beauty professionals that are trying to get in. This is okay, I'm gonna go to this college, and then at the same time I also have a avenue straight into working, so I don't have to try and figure out what the best shop is. It's oh no, this is the best one for me.
Yeah, and especially in the beginning, the hardest part of barbering is the beginning.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is when you have a big $15,000 loan payment to pay back while you're going through the beginning. So we're $2,000, but it's money up front when you sign up. So I got to get my 10 to 15 signups a month, and
So what was your strategy with that? Was that a strategy, or you were just trying to be helpful?
No, it just kind of happened, actually. It all started when I went to a barber battle competition, and at the same time, my son was asked my son what do you want to do when you get older? And he said he wanted to be a YouTuber. So he was visiting me from California. And so that night, it was the night before the barber battle too. It was weird. I was just Googling like how to get good on the internet, or like how to use the internet to make money, just like standard questions or whatever. And then the next day went to a barber battle. I sponsored all my students to go who wanted to compete. They competed, they did really well. And then like it just kind of, I stumbled onto this guy, Gary V, and he taught me about Facebook, Instagram ads. So one thing about our school that separates us from everybody else, or not everybody else, but a lot of people, is we have a huge clientele. So like our students get tons of practice. And I'm watching our students cut hair every day. And I'm like, all I got to do is take this picture, post something creative, like, sign up for, and that's where I got the $2,000. It was just like, sounds so good. We're open 7 days a week. It's $2,000. We get tons of haircuts. We're not practicing on dull heads. We're practicing on real heads.
Yeah.
It just all kind of worked out that way. And then I've always left it at 2,000, especially since COVID, but it's just a good number. It's a number that, we do every month.
It's definitely very affordable. And barber schools are expensive nowadays. But that 2,000, it seems like you care more about helping the student progress and be successful versus just trying to charge a lot for tuition. So I commend that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not making as much money as some of the other schools, but I got 6 barbershops. Those are becoming profitable. So it's like, things happen long term. It's maybe not short term I'm making as much money, but I think I'll do okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna do okay, especially it depends on what your measure of success is, right? So if you are a person that's looking only at money for your success, then somebody would be able to say, okay, well, maybe not. But if you're meeting all your bills that you need to pay, and your success meter has to do with the amount of lives that you touch and the ability for you to create a better future for a lot of different people, you're doing that. In spades, like you killing that, you're crushing that, especially with the barber college. That's one phase. Then you have the barber shop. That's another phase. You said you got 6 of those, so you killing it there. And then on top of that, you are inspiring us with all of your expos.
Yeah.
So please talk about some of these expos, because everybody, if you guys have been on Instagram, if you guys go to JesseJames's pages, and you look at some of the expos that he has put together, he has studs that help promote it, all of this stuff. But hey, man, I'm excited to come to yours next year. Like I'm excited to come to yours.
I'll do the announcement right now because I just got the save the date flyer actually today.
Oh, bless us.
Yes, I'll show you guys the flyer first.
Look at it. Oh, you got Chris Basio.
It'll be Chris Basio coming in 2:45. We got Nargis from Urban Barber College, and then I'm working on some other things. I think Stylecraft's going to jump on board, and I'm good friends with ET the barber, and he's with Stylecraft. So me and him have both requested that date, but we'll see. It's their choice who they want to send, but we're hoping for ET the barber.
Okay, solid.
But that'll be June 30th, Battle of the Barbers 5. At the Freight House Square in Tacoma, Washington. It's my 5th show, and Chris Basio is the biggest barber star that I've ever brought to Washington. We're not like California. You're California, right?
Yeah, I'm California.
I'm in Louisiana.
Louisiana? Yeah, see, there's some good barbering over there. We don't have a lot of that in Washington. We don't have a lot of, seems like in California, you guys have an expo like every 3 weeks or something. It's crazy. We don't get too much of that in Washington. So I think when I post this later today, I think it's going to get a lot of headway. Basio, I also met at the NorCal Barber Expo, and he had at his vendor booth, he had a line of 50 barbers waiting just to talk to him and get advice. And I stood there and just listened to him, and he gave different advice depending on the person's situation. It wasn't like just buy my course. It was, no, you need this, or you need, he sat there and gave thoughtful answers. And that's what drew me to him. And I sat there and just listened for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But I didn't even take a turn until the very end. Yeah. He's like, you want to talk to me? Or it's kind of, I'm just listening right now. But I was super impressed with how that's the kind of effort that if I'm going to pay somebody to come out and do that, I want somebody who's going to give it his all and not just,
Yeah.
from within.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I was one of the barbers that was in that line, trying to speak to him and talk to him, because you can tell he has a heart for the industry, man. It's not about the money with him,
And he
you know, like
genuine.
he's super genuine, Delmar. So, yeah, like I totally get what you're coming from, and I'm glad that you got somebody of that stature to be able to support what you're doing, because I think what you're doing is also super important. All of these different expos, I think, are beneficial to any barber or beauty professional that can come to them. You just have to understand why you're going, right? Why are you going? So for you as an expo thrower, what would you tell barber and beauty professionals? Why should they come to expos? Like, what's some of the biggest things that they can expect?
I mean, for me, like when I went to my first barber battle, like I was kind of lost. Like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was very unmotivated. I was very like, we had the Federal Way Barber College and like it was going good, but like it was just off of like the walk-ins from the mall and like we weren't doing nothing extra. And I don't know. I went to a barber battle and I was around a bunch of motivated barbers. I watched my students shine, like I've never seen them shine before. And it did something to me. Like I never had an Instagram before I went to a competition. I think that day I posted like 11 times, and then the next day 10 times, and then the next day 9 times. Like I posted a lot. Like it was complete life changing. What it did for me, like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I mean, I think I lost like 20 pounds just because I was working all the time, and every time I stopped to eat, like I started like getting stressed out, which probably not healthy, but like it was like I knew what was coming, little bits. Like I knew it was gonna be big, and I knew like I had a lot to do like right afterwards. I don't know. It completely changed my life, and a lot of people will go to the expos and they'll be motivated for like 3 to 4 weeks. But I went to a barber battle and I haven't stopped being motivated since. So it does different things for different people, Some people just want to go and get drunk and have fun. And if that's what you want to do, like that's what you want to do. Like, it's your decision. But like you could really it can awaken something huge.
Yeah.
And there's a lot you can learn from barber expos. I had a chance to go to the Bonner Brothers Expo in 2019 when they came to Louisiana, and I think Jermaine, I can't think of his name, but he was there. I can't think of his name. Oh, OG Walker. Yeah. So OG Walker was there, and he was teaching a class on cutting techniques and things like that. And I think Bazio was there too, Bazio 360 Jeezy. But I went there with the mindset to learn from those guys. It wasn't a party for me. And like you said, Jesse, if that's what you intend to do, cool. But for me, I felt like I wanted to learn more from those guys because they done it on such a big scale.
Yeah, and if you're going with that intent, man, the more you put in, the more you're gonna get out. That's
one of the bigger ones over there. I've heard about that one. I was gonna go to the one right before the shutdown, and then the shutdown like slowed it down. But that's one thing, like the education part of it. I haven't even like scratched the surface with that side of the industry yet. Like I've been, this will be it's my 5th barber battle. I had some education earlier on, but Bossio will be doing a class, and then whoever Stylecraft does. But yeah, I mean, that's probably where I've dropped the ball a little bit because I'm in the barber school game. But yeah, I mean, some of these, I've seen barbers go from doing $20 walk-ins and be barely booked up to like a year of competing and going to educations, and they're charging $40 and they're 80% booked up. Like it's just a complete game changer, a complete life changer. Like I've seen a lot,
Yeah. Put yourself out there.
It all depends on what you want, like this kind of stuff, like the podcast stuff that's starting to pop up and stuff. So like, I mean, that's a whole nother avenue, that's new.
Yeah. One of the things that I think it's new is you probably starting to expose the gem that you are in this industry. You're, like you said, you got on the Instagram a little bit late. I'm with you. I didn't get on till 2015 by the time I got on. So I don't know what year you got on, but it was probably before me.
No, up 2018.
Wow.
I've really been going. Like I just started this whole process.
Well, that's what then you've been killing it, bro.
Yeah. June 24, 2018 is when the first barber battle I went to.
Beautiful. So this is what I wanted to say is what a lot of people don't know about you, or if they don't follow you. So if you're on the podcast and this is your first time hearing JesseJames is not a newbie. Like he is new to Instagram, so to speak, but barbering is in his bloodline, like for real, in his bloodline. So Jesse, please kind of give a little bit of backstory to your grandpa, your dad, and you, and how it all kind of trickled down.
Yeah, so there's 14 barbers in my family. My mom owns a barber shop too in California. My older brother is probably the best cutter in the family. He's got a very successful barber shop in California. My Aunt Rhonda owns the Central Valley Barber College. That's where I went to barber school in 2010. My grandpa, he owned a lot of barbershops, but he was more in the beauty side. He was a barber in the beginning, and he had a bunch of shops, and then he kind of transitioned into like the beauty side of the business, the retail stuff, and he kind of fell away from barbering for a little bit and focused more on retail and stuff. And then now we've come back into barbering in 2015. He had about 30 locations at one point. He ended up selling the business. He sold the business and then kind of retired. And then we were into the beauty side of the business too. And then after 2011 or 2001, I think I was 18 when like the business kind of went under. And then, I started working flea markets and selling whatever product was left over. Did that for a while. And then I ended up going to barber school in 2015 when I was 25. And it was kind of like a rebirth of the barbering for us because I remember my grandpa always told me to get my barber's license like since I was like 17, 18. And I always told him like, barbers don't make enough money for me. But, like I was pretty wrong,
Quite wrong.
I had no idea what was in this industry. I couldn't have been more wrong, and I wish I would have got it sooner. But I'm glad I finally did. But my grandpa, he was the man. Like I get back in the day, there was a bunch of like union barbers, and they all wanted to charge $1.50 per haircut. And my grandpa came in and charged $1 and cut circles around them. He actually was the union president. They actually made him the union president after a while because he was just.
Wait a minute. Press pause. Did you just say that there was a barbers union?
There was a barbers union back in the day, but my grandpa was never like, he just doesn't believe in it. He believes in like barbers are self-sufficient and it's just too hard to do that. Like nobody wants to collect union dues from barbers. It was his old thinking. And then he stayed out of it until finally like they came to him and he goes, well, if I'm going to be in the union, I'm going to be the president of the union or I'm not in it. And then they made him president of the union. And then it just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think we could work now maybe with the internet, but barbers we're so self-sufficient. Like, I feel like, it's a tough sell in my opinion.
What's your thoughts on it, man? I want to hear Delmar. I want to hear your thoughts too, because that's been conversation happening in the industry over the last couple of weeks. I've been noticing it.
Barber union,
a barbers union, or some type of coalition that would speak up for barber and beauty professionals like our industry. So one of the things that we suffered during 2020 when COVID hit was that we were considered non-essential, but we get licensed, we understand quote unquote certain practices, but yet on the other end, this is the exact same stuff that we keep getting fined for, and we were getting the highest amount of fines out of anybody that was getting licensed in these industries that understand what we're supposed to be doing. So they were like, okay, because you guys aren't abiding by the rules, so to speak, we're going to deem you guys non-essential because you guys don't live up to it anyway. So, but they were saying, okay, we need people that can speak to these higher entities and fight for us, speak for us, fight for laws, different things that are changing, especially stuff that be changing when it comes to barber colleges, what the requirements are. I know some stuff probably have shifted for you, Jesse. I know in California, we used to be 1,500, 1,600 hours. Now it's like 1,000 hours. When they take their test, it's not even with a practical, like you don't even have to do nothing physically. It's just a written exam. It's like they're diluting the ability for people to get into the industry so much so that it's harder for you to charge premium rates because they're saying everybody can do this. So what's your take on actually a barbers union and the state of the industry that you see? I'm gonna go with Jesse first and then Delmar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was for him. I think there could be a lot of positives. Like, I think it's more of like if we could, speaking on barbers issues to government would obviously be good, especially during that shutdown would have been nice. And then also like if there was a way to get healthcare and stuff, like it with a group rate. I mean, of course, like there's some positives that could come out of it. But I think, whenever you have somebody handling the money, I think that's a huge risk. I think the last union or whatever. I think some guy took off with a bunch of the money. So I feel like,
Wow.
it's tough. It's really tough to find the right person. And then if you find the right person, that person, you never know who takes over after. Like they're just, a lot of issues with it, but there could be some good things to happen if it was, done correctly.
Yeah, I think you would have to find somebody who is trustworthy to be the president, to be over it. As far as the barbers and, beauty professionals being unessential or non-essential, I should say, who do people come to when they have an important interview or a meeting? They go to the professionals. Who do people go to when they have a date? They go to the professionals. So to say that we are non-essential is crazy to me. When we were shut down, I had clients was, texting me, calling me like, man, look, I will pay you whatever to come cut my hair, just because they was out of their routine. They used to come and get a haircut every week, every other week. They got things to do. They're running businesses and they just walking around looking, rough. So you need us. You need us. So I don't know. I agree with Jesse though. It would have to be somebody who is trustworthy. We don't need no scammers over the union running off with the union fees.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't think it should be a person. I think that it should be a conglomerate of different barber and beauty professionals that come together to create an entity that can create policies, create procedures. Because I think all of this is actually beneficial to the client at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Because I one of the pet peeves I personally have is that somebody that cuts hair out of their garage, no license, spreading bacteria all kind of different ways, also calls himself a barber just as much as I do, with a license and a professionalism, and I care about customer service, and I care, like, there's no differentiation when it comes to like, we're all lumped into the same thing. And it does a dishonor, and it dilutes, and it takes away from the quality of people like yourself, Jesse, that are putting in the time and putting in the effort to establish barbers, grow barbers. And then when you get them into the workforce, they are able to thrive and flourish. But because the culture is the way that it is, some of them that you even put out will still turn out to be people that you wouldn't want to represent your own college, because of how they may conduct themselves, but what's also socially accepted for what a barber actually is. And I think, if it was able to happen, I would definitely want to see how it could work. But like you said, Jesse, we're so we're self-sufficient, but we're also very self-centered. A lot of things revolve around what we want, and that's the nature of getting a license. You own your own business, and you can dictate how you want to run your business. It can be a trash business, or it can be a super high efficient professional business. It's up to you.
Yeah, and like, a barber's license isn't like universal either. There's countries out there that don't require a barber's license or anything. So
that's America.
That's something that's pertains just to the USA or some countries. So that's why when some people hear it, they're like, they are barbers without a barber's license because their country doesn't even, it's not an issue for them. But like, learning how to, the sanitation stuff is super important. That's one thing that I've done. Like, Washington used to have a huge unlicensed barber problem. Like, it was bad. There wasn't that many barber schools in there. And that's something that I've tried to help as best as I can. I think it's why I go shop to shop. When I go shop to shop, I mean, I'm also, hey, like, I can help you with that. You don't got to look over your shoulder anymore. Like, make it real easy for you, real smooth. And, we have like a 97% passing rate. I think some of the students who do fail, it's like, sometimes they have to take the practical in English, and maybe it's not their first language. So once in a while, somebody falls through, but they'll usually get it on their second time. Like, we're very good at getting people their licenses. And that's, that's one of my goals, is to get get rid of the unlicensed problem. I'm driving around anyways. I might as well help them out.
You mentioned something earlier. So Washington, does it have a lot of barbers?
No, we don't. That's why I moved up here from California.
Okay, so you're originally from California.
California.
I don't really see a lot of barbers on Instagram that's from the Washington area. Like you said, mainly from Louisiana, Texas, New York, California, and definitely at Georgia. But so what do you feel that you can bring to the state of Washington as far as the barbering industry? Like, what is your purpose for, your college, your shops in that area?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've definitely we have been behind for a long time, and I feel like if there's one person who can throw the big expo, who can bring the big time people, who if there, I feel like I could change that. I could change the barber culture in Washington. I can drive around to all the barber shops around, within a 2.5 hour radius, and you'll see at every barber shop, you'll see 3 or 4 of my alumni in there. I've had people move from different states to move to Washington just to go to my barber college, just because they don't want to spend 15,000. They could come rent a room for a couple months and come to barber college and then transfer their license back to wherever they live.
Wow.
I want to make a big impact. I want to, I love when, somebody's working retail or whatever and they get their barber's license, and then 2 or 3 years later, they're driving like a $40,000 car or something. Like, I love seeing that. I love to see when they come to barber school and they're struggling, they're barely making their bills. And then 2 to 3 years later, their family's eating good and their quality of life has gone better. Like, I love that. Like, I look at myself in the mirror before I go to bed and I can sleep on that. And so that's one thing. But like, for the barber culture and the barber shows, like, I think that we have just as much talent as any other state. I mean, the 5 states you listed are probably some of the best states in the union, in the country, on barbering. Like, they're known for barbering, and I'm a California barber. But I feel like, as being a California barber, that's something that I can bring a little of that California vibe, or that California, whatever you want to call it, to Washington. And I'd go to bat for a lot of these barbers. Like, I even at the NorCal Barber Expo, like, I sponsored like 5 of them. Like, I don't want to say like going to battle. It's not like us versus them kind of a thing, but like I like to say, like, I'll go to war with the barbers. I'll take them to the CT Barber Expo, and I'll put some of the Washington guys against anybody. Like, worst thing we do is going to take second. It's not a big deal. We're getting better, and But I would like to see the show. I would like to be one of those major expos. I want to see 3 to 5 to 10,000 people. Maybe fill up the Tacoma Dome. That would be my long-term goal, and we'll get there.
Yeah, you will, man. You definitely gonna get there, especially with the heart that you have to get to be that productive. One of the things that you just said that stood out to me was how you will put the Washington barbers, or the ones that you're nurturing and tutoring, you'll put them up against anybody. And what's funny, Delmar, is I actually got a chance to see that when we went to was that the Vegas? Did you go to Vegas?
It was NorCal Barber Expo.
NorCal? Okay.
Vegas ain't good for me.
Huh?
Vegas no good for me.
Oh, okay. NorCal Barber Expo, though, man. And the thing that I'm bringing up was the level of energy that Jesse had for his barbers. Like, for his barbers, he wasn't even trying to be in the expo himself, or he was making sure that trying to find the judges, like, who is the people that was doing it. He was running around. I was trying to catch up to him sometimes. And he was literally all around the expo trying to make sure that his barbers were in the best position. Finding models, because certain people didn't come, or they flew and they traveled all the way down to the Bay Area, but didn't have models. And so he was the guy that was going out and getting the models for his barber students so that they can battle. I mean, he fights for his people. He fights for them legitimately, and it's such an inspiring thing, because if you're in this industry, one of the things that you don't get a lot is people that go to bat for you.
Yeah.
It's a very, like you said, Jesse, like, it's self-sufficient, but sometimes it's like do it on your own. Like, you have to go succeed on your own, be greater, or it's going to be a bust. But people like yourself, man, it changes the dynamic for the trajectory of anybody that's in the industry, because they have somebody going to bat for them that is further than where they are, and you're doing the things that are going to help them get further in their profession, further with their business, because they have somebody like you in their corner, man. So hats off to you, bro.
And making content too. Like, the barbers can't cut hair in the competition and record themselves. They can't do that at the same time. So that's something I like to try to do for them. And I was sweating after that. I think there was one category where there was like all 6 of them were all lined up together. They were all competing next to each other, and which is nice, because if they weren't competing next to each other, I would have been way too much running around. So, we try to keep them all together, and that was a special moment. That was in the past, I've gone with like one person, but Alejandro from Urban Barber College, I mean, that dude is like changed my life too, inspired me. So when he told me, he was throwing that competition, like I was like, you know what, if I'm going to go all out, and I even made like first place prize at my competition get sponsored, for that competition. But then I changed it and I just said, anybody who wants to go, we'll just go. But
Nice.
yeah, no. And then Jerry too. Jerry's great over there at NorCal.
Yeah.
That's one I'll never miss. Yeah, that was fun.
That was super fun, man. NorCal Barber Expo for me, I feel like was a game changer in regards to even how I looked at expos and barber battles. For me, I just felt like it was just, like you said, like a whole bunch of barbers come together, get drunk, and and just party for a whole weekend, and maybe cut some hair and probably give some discounts on some clippers and different things of that nature. But this particular one, NorCal Barber Expo, I specifically went with the intent to network. I specifically went with the intent to make connections. I specifically went with understanding where I'm currently at in my business and where I'm trying to grow. So who can I connect with? And not only that can benefit me, but who is somebody that I feel like I could provide value to? And so whenever you're going to an expo, that's what I always would consider, or I would always raise for your consideration, is know why you're going. Don't just go to an expo just to be there. Go with intent. Go with the intent to grow, with the intent to learn. Take advantage of the education courses. Don't just get caught up in the hype of the battles only. Go to the battles, see the techniques, but also look at the education, because the education in the business side is going to actually yield you more fruit from a financial perspective than you would be just by understanding how to stay stuck behind the chair. So the techniques is how you're going to make more money behind the chair, but the business is how you're going to make and create passive income. So learn both, so that way you don't get stuck behind the chair, and you'll be able to actually free yourself from being obligated to the chair. We all want to stay behind the chair from the standpoint of we love what we do, right? We all love cutting hair. We love being able to connect with people through behind the chair, or we love the art of it. One of the two. It's either you like the relationships or you love the art, but we like to be behind the chair. But what it gets difficult is when you want to go vacation, or you want to spend time with your friends and your family outside of the chair, but you're obligated to stay behind the chair because you haven't built yourself in a way that gives you the freedom that you want. So you have to think about those things, and expos are huge ways for you to start to create your network so that you can work that net, and therefore you can grow. So hopefully that was good.
Some of the biggest deals or biggest connections I've made. I mean, I just wouldn't have made it without the expos. That's why I love bringing out like a Bossio or something, because we get to hang out all weekend, and I just, I'm picking them. Now I'm not really like, I haven't been behind the chair probably since like the shutdown, really. I mean, if I'm allowed to say that. Only when they tell me I can't, that's when I got it. But when I was cutting hair, I was cutting at the barber college, and I was a licensed barber, and I was just an instructor, and I was an instructor school. I wasn't even an instructor. I was doing $5 haircuts, and that's very humbling to do $5 haircuts as a licensed barber. And then we went up to $7. But and I thought about it a lot. Like, that is what, see, a lot of other barbers, so in Washington, we have a weird law. Like, you have to have an instructor's license to own a school. So a lot of barbers say they want to, get their, do what I do and do all this. And, I always encourage them to do it. Like, we have a big need for barber schools, Like, I already have like 100 students. It's like, can't have much more. So like, we need more barber schools. And, but what separates us, I mean, for one, I don't think a barber would charge $2,000 for a school because, they're so good at cutting hair.
Right.
That they would think that they should charge 10, 15, 20, and they're probably true. But it's those $5 haircuts. It's like, you can't build a clientele on $5 on students doing haircuts. Like, they're just too slow. Takes them an hour. Like, you got to go, like, it's too hard to build a clientele. And that's what me and my dad and my brothers did, was we sat there and did $5 haircuts before we had any students, before we had 1 or 2 students. And we did a lot of haircuts. And those are, now that we have a ton of students and they have tons of haircuts, it's because we did those $5 haircuts. And now, me, like, I'm a 20 minutes in and out, like, yeah. I'm fast, I get annoying after 20 minutes. So lucky though, 20 minutes, I'm solid, but, so we built up a huge clientele, and that's what separates us. And I always tell barbers, like, come on in, like, if you're willing to do some $5 haircuts, you can do what I do, but unless you're willing to do some $5 haircuts, I don't think you are. I think you guys like the $40 to $50 to $70 haircuts too much to come play this game over here, and it's just a different game. And how I would do it if I was starting over, I would open up my barbershop. I would build that up, prove the concept. And then I would open up a small barber school close, like same shopping center would be great. Run the barber school and the barbershop same time and train your team and then go from there. That's how I would do it if I was starting over.
Yeah, I want to ask you, Jesse, like, how do you keep all of that balance between like your home life, running the businesses, the shops, the school? Like, do you have a team in place? Like, how do you keep it all together? Because I know, and Brad knows too, just running a business, just one business can be stressful, let alone owning multiple. So give us a little insight on how you keep it all together.
Well, for starters, like I don't take a day off. That's starters. Like I'm probably in the beginning, I was like 15 hours a day. In the beginning, I was running the social media. I was doing the marketing. I was going around visiting the shops, getting all the barbers shops to recruit. Every barber shop, every barber has 2 or 3 customers that want to go to barber school. So my job was getting all them to recruit for our barber school. I was the instructor in the beginning. It was me and my dad. We had no employees. I was actually an employee first. I was making $15 an hour in the beginning. And then when I took over the social media and talked my dad into Instagram ads and Facebook ads, which, he's 50 something, like when, his wild son says, hey, let's spend $2,000 on Facebook ads. Like, that's not something that, they're going to just jump on board. But thankfully, like, I think he agreed to like 1,000. And then I just ran another 1,000 without telling him. And then after like the money started coming in, then he's like, you know what, I'm going to make you partner, like I'm proud of you and this and that. And so then when I was getting a piece of the money coming in, that's when I put it all back into the business, So 7 days a week, I rent a room from a Salvadorian family. I drive a $5,000 truck. I have no car payment. I probably live like as humbly as you can, that I can. So my rent is low, my car payment's down. I just started working out too, so I'm working at eating healthy, so I'm not spending a bunch of money on food. Cut all of that, like everything. Like I've cut everything. So how do I balance everything? Like I just hired an assistant like 7 weeks ago. That's been a huge help. My old assistant became my business partner in the beauty school and in one of the shops. She was an amazing addition. And honestly, like I had a barber battle business with another guy and I got burned for a good amount of money. And I can tell you that like it's always seemed like the right person has always come along at the right time. I used to force everything. I used to, be in a hurry all the time. And I think I'm still in a hurry and I still maybe force some things here and there, but I've gotten a lot better at letting everything come to me and then just keeping my eyes open and taking every opportunity. This next shop I'm opening up actually it's weird because my grandpa owned a bunch of shops back in the day. It was his second location he ever owned. It's the same location, but it was a different owner in between. So I took the location that my grandpa once owned. That's kind of a cool story. But it just kind of happened. Like, it just like I was driving by, I saw it was closed. I went in there and it said like a sign, like the barber fell down and had an accident and she's retiring. And I was like, I called my grandpa and I was like, hey, isn't this your old shop? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, what? I'm looking into it. So then I called and looked into it and it's like, it's a low deal, like crazy. And the other owner, like she kept it up very well and she did a good job. So, I'm excited for this one that's opening up. First time I'm using black floors. It's going to be different, but it looks good. People have always come around. Good.
I said that's a thing now. Black floors, black walls, and they look good. You see, Breed, what's his name? Breed Baza, and I think he's in LA area. But he's killing it. There's a few different people that got that black floors. I wanted to give you a shout out, Jesse. A few people on commenting on IG. Art of Hair said, exciting to hear the great progress, Jesse. Happy for you. And then you had someone else say, that's awesome, working where your grandfather worked. So it's all about, you done brought it back home. You done brought the barbershop back home, man, back into the bloodline where it's supposed to be. So
yeah, I'm excited with the way with the whole family really. Most of my family's in California, so Washington is like I said, I moved up to Washington. There was no barber schools, no barber shops. Like wide open. It was wide open, and it's where my dad actually is from, Washington. So I used to come up here for the summer times, and we have the best summers in Washington. That's why June 30th, Battle of the Barbers, we have the best summers in Washington. Like you won't get better.
Be there, man.
Yeah, come up and do the podcast. We can set you up. We can, open the VIP room or something.
Let's do it, Delmar. You gonna fly? You gonna do it?
I'm gonna make plans to do so.
All right. I need that logo though for the flyer.
We got you.
Okay.
We got you. We get the logo.
I heard Washington is beautiful too. I have one of my old coworkers. He went to Washington and he loved it.
Best summers, like we have like world famous summers here. Like you'll get the best weather. Like it makes up for the other 9 months of rain and stuff. But no, we have the best summers, and that's why June. I'm so excited. June is perfect date for it. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. I mean, Seattle's got some issues, but I mean, every city does.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
Y'all rain not like Louisiana rain though. I could promise you that.
Probably bigger drops or something, huh?
Yeah, way bigger.
Yeah, and it'll be hot. It'll be humid. It's like a getting out the shower.
Yeah, the sun will be out, pouring down, raining.
I think you got better food over there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
well, I've never eaten in Washington, so I don't know. I can't judge, but based on popularity, Louisiana got you guys beat.
I heard those East Coast barbers, they bring a little something too. We'll get customers from the East Coast who move over here, and as soon as they say that, I'm like, I'm just like, dang it, I know. Give them our best guy. And luckily, I got a guy from New York working in one of my shops, so I send the East Coast people to him.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. So what is one of your before we head out, I got one more good question for you, but this is just a little prelude to it. What is like one of the funniest or most impactful either barber shop stories or barber school stories or barber expo stories that you feel like was a monumental moment for you in your growth? That's a big question.
I mean, it's got to be the first one when I saw my students compete for the first time.
Okay.
So the funny story was so the guy who came through the event was going shop to shop. So I was like, you know what? This guy's working hard. He's going shop to shop. I'm going to get a vendor table. So I bought a vendor table. And again, I've never been to a show. I've never done this before. So everybody's vendor tables, when you see them, they all got like the big banners and it all looks all super nice. So when I came with my vendor table, and mine, I was just going to be like, I'll just give it like a place for the students to hang out. But I brought like 4 sign-up sheets and like no banner. No, it was like the most plainish thing like you've ever seen. But I could tell you, like, I went to work. Like, I didn't spend no time at my vendor table. I was at everybody else's vendor table. I was talking to all the barbers, taking pictures and stuff. But if you just like the video had to like go around to all the vendors and then they skipped mine because it's just 3 sign-up sheets on it or 4 sign-up sheets. So that was pretty funny looking back on it. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was doing something.
Yeah, that's great, man. That is great.
Nah, it seemed like you love to network though. You say you go from shop to shop, and even at the event that you just said, you was at other vendors' tables. And I'm quite sure that's helped you in your career and everything that you're doing with the barbershop and the schools too.
Yeah, you mentioned I didn't even know what networking it was like before all this. Like I heard people say it all the time, but I always thought that was just a catchphrase that people use, and like I never really not that I didn't believe in it, I just didn't ever experience it, and then I was doing it, but I didn't even know what I was doing. It just all came so natural to me. Like there's like a lot of barbers that's what they like to roll with me to the shows, is because some of them are shy, they don't want to talk to other people, and then I kind of become like their hype man or talk them up and do that. So that's one thing that they've liked. But yeah, that whole networking thing, like I didn't even know that was like a real business strategy. It was just something that like always came natural to me.
So what do you call it? What other people are calling network, what do you call it?
I was just honestly I was going around shop to shop before I was doing barber battles, but what I was trying to do was, obviously I was trying to get them to recruit to my barber school, but what I was trying to do was get them because they needed barbers and I need barber students. So I was trying to get them barbers and then send me barbers. So, obviously it was, I'm trying to give value to them and them give value back to me. Obviously that's a win-win. I always I'm a 51-49 guy. I always try to give 51% and take 49. I always feel like if you do that, everybody will want to do business with you.
Nice.
I'm not a taker. Like, I mean, obviously, like I want a lot and I want to build the biggest empire and the biggest barber empire as possible. But, I want to do it giving 51% and taking 49 along the way. And and we'll just see where the chips fall. But like, I want 100 shops. I want King's Den to be like, somebody asked me, because I have 2 shops in Auburn. It's the first time I'm putting 2 shops in the same city.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, are you going to call it King's Den? And I said, does McDonald's change its name when it puts in a second location? And they started laughing. So King's Den. So
that's true though. So you're trying to take over Washington.
I don't like to use, I don't like to say take over, but I want to have 100 shops. I want to make it the Paul Mitchell of barbering was my original saying, but now I'm in the beauty business too, so I don't even know what that's gonna be something.
Yeah,
I haven't even really went after the beauty side of it. It's our 10th month we've been open. I just had an inspection right before this, man. I was sweating. We passed though. It was my second.
That's what I'm talking about. Good job, Jesse.
I've never done the beauty side before. It was more nerve-wracking. The barber's easy. We handle that inspection no problem. Beauties, it's a whole different world.
It is. I can attest to that because I actually have a cosmetology license. I don't have a barber license. So the barber board was easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Board of cosmetology, man, you be on pins and needles.
Yeah. They passed me though. We made it. They just made me sweat a little bit.
Yeah,
and that was for your school?
It was for the school, for the King's Den Beauty Academy.
Okay. So what is the history behind your name, King's Den?
King's Den. I thought you were talking about JesseJames.
Oh, hey, that's popular too. We could get into that.
So King's Den, that was my grandpa's original name back in the day. They all closed down. All the locations closed down, and we were at the barber school, and they were trying. Our first school was called the Federal Way Barber College. So I didn't know about branding. I didn't know about all this networking. I'm still so new at it. They're trying to come up with a name. I'm like, well, you don't want to call it Federal Way, because we're not in Federal Way. We can't have more than one Federal Way Barber College. That doesn't. Yeah. Not smart. So then my brother and my dad are trying to come up with a name, and I'm doing the barbers. I'm not even in the shops at this moment. And I just turn, I go, why don't you call it King's Den? For grandpa, pay homage to him. And then my dad and brother, because they own the shops. I didn't even own that shop at that time, but they named it King's Den. And then I kind of got more involved in the shops probably a year later. I was so good at running the barber schools, and I was so bad. I was bad at running barber shops. I never ran a barber shop. Mm-hmm. But now, I brought this new assistant on, and she worked for another barber shop, and she brought the Booksy stuff. We're killing it on Booksy right now. I'm so Booksy and Google ads together. You run the Google ad, they click on the Google ad, because when somebody wants a new barber, they usually just do barbershop near me or whatever, and then you run the Google ad, you go on top, they click your link, goes right to your Booksy, they're booking. They don't. It's just so powerful. We've been doing it for 5 weeks, and I'm jacked now. That's why I put in this new shop, and I want to see how fast I can get it profitable, and then I'll put in another one as soon as I'm breaking even, and then I'm just gonna go like that. But I don't know what's gonna happen because I've never used Booksy before, but we'll see.
Man, so that actually that was like an alley-oop, and I'm about to dunk it too.
I knew it was coming.
So I was actually going to ask you, what do you feel about booking platforms? And I wasn't going to have you name any specific names, but you already dropped Booksy. You already plugged them.
I've used Booksy. I've used Squire. I used Calendly too before. I want to say, I think Booksy is very good. I don't want to say that, but also why I think Booksy is working out for me so well is because it was the first booking platform that I combined it with the Google ads. So I can't say that Squire is any worse than Booksy. It's just I didn't run Squire with Google ads, so I don't know if it's as good. I'm sure it's probably the same, but I'm very happy with Booksy right now. My assistant knows Booksy. It's what she's comfortable with. I'm comfortable with it because I'm watching my barbers get booked up more. But no, I think it's super important. Like I said, come from my grandpa. My grandpa was old school, charge less than your competition and work hard and knock out. My grandpa would do 30, 40, 50 haircuts a day. And, that was his thing. But I don't think the barber community wants to do that anymore. That's 1980s. That's 1970s. That's, that's not where the industry is moving. I'm so happy that we're using booking apps a lot better. I might even up my ads just because, I want it to work faster.
It's working for you.
Yeah.
What from the experiences that you've had, not using names if you don't need to, but what were some of the cons that you feel that you were experiencing with booking platforms?
So, I mean, obviously, I want a booking platform to find me customers. Some booking apps, they don't find you any customers. So it's on you to put your link in front of people to get customers. And that's fine. Like, that's just not what I would look for in a booking app. I would want a booking app that, yeah, I'm running the ads and I'm getting, getting good, customers. But I also want somebody just to log on to the booking app and book with us without me doing anything. Like, that's
Okay. So, but from what I know, a lot of booking platforms, that's the way that they sell people, is that, oh, sign up with us and then we'll get you new customers or we'll get you new clients. But like you said, it's not really that they're sending people your way. It's them putting you in a competitive space and allowing people to choose who they want. And so
I'm 100% okay with that. I think if you're not okay with that, then you're not confident in your abilities. I feel like you put out the best product at the best price and you take care of your customer. It doesn't matter. They can put 100 barbershops in front of your customers. As long as you take care of them, you're not going to lose them.
Yeah, I mean, but some people will never choose you because they're being shopped. You know what I'm saying? You're being shopped. You're just amongst the shampoo products that's on the shelf. So they might never choose you. And it's not till somebody gets a chance to experience you to when they'll actually deny other options. It's, but if they're fresh and they're brand new, they just looking at the best colors. They looking at the price points. They're not really judging you based on who you really are. But
if the booking company doesn't put you in front of other people, yeah, they're putting other barbershops in front of other people too. You'll never get a chance either. Like there's no chance at that point.
Well, so this is my strategy. This is what I would do, right? So me personally, that's one of the reasons why I don't like some booking platforms, is the way that they shop you to the client, to the customer. But I do see the advantage of it. But the biggest advantage is the fact that you get a chance to experience me, because then you'll supersede the other locations. You'll easily bypass it. But one thing that I have done is I've actually created a website, right? So the website is where my booking platform is connected to. So that way, when people are coming to whatever ad that I may have, they're going to my website to get my private booking link versus them going to whatever booking platform I have and then being shopped in front of other barber shops and other barbers. It's a different way. It's a different strategy. And I found that it's worked very good for me.
I don't know it because I haven't used it, but that does sound way better. Just because there's a lot of other stuff that once they're on your website, like you control that information, like that means something. You can do something with that in the future.
Yeah,
for sure. I've come from we were just walk-ins. Like, I'm just so grateful that people are booking that, like, I'm just like, hey, this is the company that's done it. But I am doing my website too. And then my link will be on the website also. But I mean, especially what you got going on, there's probably a lot more advantages to doing that than some barber who's just barbering and not doing anything else.
But also even for barber, like I go, like, my heart, man, I'm a barber at the bottom, at the end of the day. Yes, I do business and yes, I care about that kind of stuff. But my passion is about helping barber and beauty professionals to grow in this industry. And when I think about a barber, one of the things that will limit a person's growth, or a beauty professional even, one thing that'll limit your growth is if you don't understand the business. If you think the business is cutting hair, then you'll be stuck cutting hair. And then when you need to make money outside of that, you won't be able to, and you'll be stuck. And so it's really unlocking that mindset for early barbers, young barbers, people in barber college. That's why I go and speak at barber colleges, because I'm trying to help unlock that little part of their brain where they say, and they'll think bigger. That's why it's like, go to expos, because you'll think bigger than just behind the chair. You'll see more, and the more you're exposed to, the more you can grow to. And so when I think about just this simple thing about booking, if you just focus on just booking and you shift it to where you create you a website that can create passive income for yourself, or it's a structure for passive income, when you do that, that opens up the floodgates for your potential. So yes, people are going to come to you and they're going to book an appointment with you. That's going to be normal. But the website also, like you says, allows you to there's 4 different types of traffic. You have paid traffic, you have organic traffic, you have a different type of traffic, but then you have owned traffic. Owned traffic is when you can do what you want to do with them. You know, you can promote different things to them, but when all of your traffic is stuck inside of another entity, you don't have access to that. You don't own it. The company that you signed up with, that people are booking their services through, they own that traffic. You don't. And so it's a difference. And so when you start to open the mindset of the younger barbers, as well as, you know, people that have been in the industry and they don't know this space, it's just like, unlock yourself so that way you can move past being stuck behind the chair. You don't want to be obligated to it. You really want to be able to use it as a platform for more growth.
Yeah, no, I mean, a website is good. A website is, I mean, every business should have a website, like, for sure. And I have websites for my barber schools. My barbershop ones are being made too right now. I was just going to throw my booking link on there. See, I didn't say the name for you, all right? It's I obviously, like, I would love to have that booking link at my show someday, you know, so that's another reason, is like, you know, it's more of a, how many shops do I have to open up before, you know, they're sponsoring my shows and all that. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. And I'm probably, for me too, like, a website would be better for me to control that information, much more opportunity. It's just not something I've thought about too much, obviously, because,
hey man, when you busy like yourself, man, sometimes it's hard to step out from the activity of the business and learn how to run it, you know, like
I'm a loyal guy too. I'm loyal. So, like, when we doing something so bad before, and then I sign up with this company and all of a sudden they're putting money in my barber's pocket, you know, it's like, I'm a loyal.
And that you should be loyal, because you're loyal to growth. That's what you're not loyal to a company. You're loyal to growth, and the fact that you've seen growth by getting with this company, that's what you're loyal to. So I respect it, man.
You know what I would have to do? I'd have to open up another shop and then run that shop from the website
and see how it works.
Yes, and compare the two. That would probably be the best thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Is to taste both sides.
Yeah, because that way you can like you said, taste both sides and experience both sides. Delmar, what you thinking, man? I see you over there pondering. You got a website?
Yeah, I got a website. I love it. And I'm registered on Google, so I get traffic from a website, I get traffic from Google, and I get traffic from the booking platform that I use. But I started my website maybe 8-9 years ago, just because I seen another barber that I looked up to, and he had did it. And I was like, well, what's the purpose of him, you know, having a booking platform, but also having a website? But you had to go to his website to get to the booking platform. So it's like he's putting himself in the front first, and then you go to the website. I mean, the app. So I just took that model, and it's been working for me.
I like it. I could do that too. That would actually be an easier change. I mean, I should do that anyways, you know?
Yeah.
My Google should be my website, and then from my website, they hit the booking app.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't want to change like everything, you know?
Yeah. And that's the structure, that's the portal that you want your clients to go through, because what you're doing, you know, unconsciously, is you're putting your clients in front of other people for no reason, versus allowing them to know you and then say, oh, like, this is who I'm coming after, and this is who I want. Like, I want to go to King's Den. Like, that's all I want. I don't want to know about sports clips and all these other barbers near me. Like, I really just want to go to this one. So
and then on the website too, though, I could be like interested in becoming a barber, you know, and then bam, you know, it could be that sort of stuff too. I've thought about it a little bit on that side.
Yeah.
You could put everything that you got going on your website, and it's your brand. You own it.
Yep. And you could get even more strategic, where you know all the things that you want to do, and you have a landing page for each thing that you want to do. So that way the viewer or the consumer isn't distracted by all the things you offer, right? So if you're speaking to clients and you want clients to come to a barbershop, there's no need for you to share about the Barber Expo and go to the barber college. You know, like, you would be competing against yourself when you do something like that, versus having like a landing page that was very short, to the point, and saying book an appointment, right? Then that one, they know, okay, I'm going to King's Den Barbershop. Then you have another one that's very straight to the point, saying, do you want to get your barber's license fast and at the best price possible in the United States? Go ahead, whatever. And then they go through that process, and it's strictly for that. And then you have the same thing for the beauty college, and then you do it for the expos, and this is like best expos in the nation. We're right up there with Connecticut Barber Expo, all this stuff. Like, we are the West Coast champion, whatever you call it. But you go, and it's just specific to that, and that's one of the strategies that a lot of big time people have done.
I don't lie in my ads though. Okay, so we're like top 20 right now. We're coming up though.
you be honest,
we're
but
we're going the right direction.
yeah, so be honest, but don't minimize yourself based on how you may view yourself, because someone else may view you as the best. So don't.
I could say there's best in Washington. All right, we're best in Washington. All
That's
right?
fine. That's fine. But my point is that
confidently say that.
Confidently say it, and then simplistically say it, so that the person that wants to purchase and wants to invest in what you have to offer, you don't distract them with 19 different options. It's just like, boom, this is what you want. And it's like, oh, cool, I'm about to sign up for this right now.
That's where the assistants come through. Like, like I'll get ideas before I hired her. I'll get ideas and they'll just slip through my mind while I'm doing something else. And that has not been the case as much, lately.
This is good, man. I don't want to hold you too long, Jesse. I know you got a busy life. You've already expressed that to us. But Delmar, did you have any closing remarks or second questions? I know you have things you got to do too.
No, just appreciate you taking time out your day to come on our podcast, our platform, and speak to the viewers. And this was great meeting you. The episode was a pleasure. I learned so much about you in this episode, and congratulations to what you're doing, and kudos to everything that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I had fun. This isn't easy. Like, this is not an easy thing to do, and you guys make it look easy, but I appreciate you giving me a chance to step out of my comfort zone and get on here and talk barbering, which is what I love to do all day long. Just ask anybody.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you thoroughly, man. You shared a lot of gems too, even just sharing through your story and giving advice, especially about different tactics that you're using that's causing your barbers to win, and the heart that you have behind helping your barbers to win. So this was like another outstanding episode for anybody that is trying to go to another level of barbering for themselves, barber and beauty professional, whatever you're trying to grow. Then Elevated Barbers Podcast is for you. If you are in business, if you are in the salon, if you are in any aspect where you're trying to grow, Elevated Barbers is a podcast that will benefit you. So hopefully you got a lot out of today. I think that we are done. So we're going to pose one more time, but we're going to say goodbye at the same time. We are out.
Peace.
1, 2, 3, 4.